I'm able to.
So CSS generally use it's a stands on the cascaded style sheet. So this entire session we will discuss about the session about the CSS. So generally what we do, right? In earlier sessions we have seen about how you will design the HTML. You can say so different elements, right? Something we call as either it is a table or it is a rows or maybe it is a paragraph. It is a text area. These are the different type of your HTML elements. So these HTML elements will be the part of your DOM tree, and there is a document object model is getting generated, and based on that, which is the root tag inside the which is the tag child tag. So using these tags, you will basically design your HTML page. So this entire concept is very important when you are working with the JavaScript also, correct? Because how to manipulate the DOM and how you are loading a DOM, it is also impacting to a performance. So that is we will discuss when we learn about the JavaScript or maybe this new framework, Angular or the React. Now, this CSS is also very important, right? So CSS is cascaded style sheets. Basically, it is helpful to you for decorating your page, how the page will be looks like, right? In that scenario, if you wanted to have a particularly giving some font size, if you wanted to give some color, if you wanted to have some bold, you can say the letters, right? Alignment, background color, many such things you can control it. So there are different properties, right? So these properties can be, you can say tune it, or you can give some much more better feel using these properties. So rather than give each and every tag, if you are giving some properties, that is you can do it, or else you can have separate CSS files, and you can create and you can manage these properties, right? So and you can give some identifiers, and using these identifiers you can basically manage these properties, correct? So this is basically is all about the CSS, right? Now there is a two type of CSS. One is the inline CSS, where you can give that CSS file. CSS is actually what we can say that it's to be three types, correct? So one thing is that you can give that CSS directly as a property into what we can call as, especially into a particular HTML element. Then you can also use the CSS style tag, right, in an HTML file, and these using that file and you can use it. Then also you can use it like you can create a separate CSS file, and from that you can refer some identifiers and use that identifiers in your HTML file. So this CSS you need everywhere, either you are working with Angular or React or everywhere, correct? So you will generally what you do, you create a separate HTML file, and then you create a CSS file, and then we are just decorating using that CSS. Okay. So that is basic, the fundamental requirement of a CSS. So let's say this is an HTML W3C school. Again, you can just see how you can just go and see here. So if you wanted to just give any background color to your as a light blue for a body, or any H1 tag you wanted to give it as a color as a white, right? Or text alignment as a center. So, or maybe any paragraph if you wanted to give as a font family as a Verdana and the font size 20 px. Means if you will apply these things, all the paragraphs will have the font size as 20 px, font family will be the Verdana, and that whenever you are heading as H1 tag, where you will have the color as a white and text alignment will be center. So you don't need to manage each and every time for H1 tag. So it will manage basically from here itself. So once you have done it, and you can use it everywhere. So simply you can just see, right? So this is, you can say, my first CSS file. So in that scenario, you can see the background color is a light blue. and H1 is a white, right? If you are just changing something here as a black or center or something like that, then also you can just do the changes. Okay. So like this, you can have a multiple other ways you can just tune and you can process it. Okay. So that is the one thing. Now, yes. So you see, I have a border on all sides, right? So different type of borders, correct? Dotted, dashed, solid, double, groovy. So what type of, do you need any type of border here? So if you wanted to specify for a border for a particularly, so p dot dotted, right? So border dot style you can specify like that. Okay. So if you will just go for and check it how it looks like. So this dotted, right? P dot dotted here, a dotted border, right? Correct. So here, if you will see, we have used that as a class. So class as an attribute for, and it will be available for all the HTML elements. Either it is for text area, input text, or maybe it is for paragraph, or maybe it is anything. Every particular HTML element has that attribute is called as a class. So once you have created as a class, right? So you can use that at a p dot dotted border style is dotted here, correct? So if this class is a dotted, you can just see that particularly this a dotted border will be looks like that. If you want that dashed, you can see this border is basically a dashed here, right? If you want that class as a solid, you can see that it is a solid. Okay. So you can say p dot solid is border dot solid here. So in such a way, if you wanted to do any changes, you can just do some other changes also. But this is the way you can create the class and you can just, so I guess we can also see the identifiers or the selectors. So there are different type of selectors, right? So first thing is, right, P. So here, if you will see all paragraph elements, right, this particularly CSS will be applied for all the paragraphs because here we are giving the selector as a P, correct? Then there is a ID. ID means if you have a every HTML element, you will have an attribute as a ID. So whenever you have ID is equal to para1, means this CSS will be applicable for that. Okay, like that. Then you will also have a particularly entire family, right? So there are many more other types of, you can have a dot. Also, you can use it, right? I will just correct dot. So the class as a center, right? So whenever any particular, let's say we have seen it just as a class. So paragraph and you can specify class as a center. So like that, this will be applicable for that. So dot center, whenever you have a class is equal to, whenever you are using ID, then you can use a hash, right? So whatever you put inside here, color, text alignment, or maybe there are any kind of a properties, font size, right link, anything if you wanted to just do it. So this is basically you can specify. So you can just see like that. Okay. So here also you can say left. Color is blue. You see, if I will make it as a right, you can see right. And you can see center, center. Like this. You can also create one more here. Let's say dot check. Correct. Keep this property as the same only. So you can either use the ID, you can use a particularly a class as well. So you see whenever we have as a use as a hash means we need to use as a ID. I can also say as a class, and you can use as a check. Okay, like that. So, right here I can say break. You see, so this is the way. If you wanted to decorate anything, you can specify. You can also specify like a P. Correct. So you can use some different other properties. I'm just giving, right? So if you can also see that how this is looks like. Sorry. Right. So there is also a concept how you are overriding or it is a mixing up. Correct. If I will remove this one class. Okay, so this is the way basically you can tune and you can create that. It is we are just creating for paragraph. You wanted to have any other body, you can also specify the body. This is the style tag here, right? And you need to put everything into an style tag here. So these styles you can apply throughout this HTML file here. So this is the one simple example where you can understand that how the CSS can be started and you can learn it. There is a CSS framework. Okay, and this CSS, if you will just go for bootstrap, right? So this is a CSS framework. So you don't need to develop each and every basic CSS styles. There are some ready-made CSS are available, right? So nowadays people are using bootstrap very much. So slowly, once you learn that CSS, you can also after that you can understand and you can learn the bootstrap. And you have to have a good control on the CSS if you are working into a UI UX developer or if you are working as a full stack developer. Okay. So that is the one thing because many such ready-made content you need it for what we can say for mobile app, right? How your entire application will be fitted into. If you are opening your application into a browser or if you are opening your application into mobile, so this element and everything will be getting scattered and it will be very distorted. This page will not look like good. So how you will make such an application which will be if you are opening into an you can say uh, compatible with the device. So automatically it will adjust based on the device. So something kind of you need how you will develop this kind of an applications. That is you need to understand it. So this particular framework will help it to you for that. Good stuff.